Well, in this episode, we're going to be working on my neighbor's other ATV this time. I left off when we were starting on it. I'm not really going to go into all that detail in this one like I did the other one, so if you guys are worried about details and everything, click on the video before this one. I go into more greater detail what I'm about to be doing. I already did an oil change. I've already put a new spark plug in it. I've already aired up the tires. I've already checked the fluids. I've already cleaned the air filter. So I got all that stuff knocked out of the way. I got my used fuel tank in this week. It's off of, this is a 2007, just like the other green one. This is a 2010 fuel tank, and it will work on this one. I already cross-referenced everything. The only thing that's different is the way the fuel level gauge sits. It sits a little bit crooked, but other than that, not a big deal. So I've got that, and I got a new fuel pump. We'll be getting into all this. We're going to put all this together. I got a new fuel pump. I got this updated little kit I did not know they made. Here's the part number if you guys are worried about that, if you have one of these. It basically relocates the fuel pickup to the side. Here's the fuel pump that actually came out of this. Basically, the kit relocates the fuel pickup on the side of this little plastic housing right here that holds the fuel pump in place. I got all my stuff laid out. I just got through spraying this thing out again. That's probably about as clean as it's going to get. I don't know if you can see in there, but I've scrubbed that and everything. It's not going to come any cleaner than that. So I got everything laid out. Let's get started on this. Finally got that back together. That was that was more of a pain in the butt than the other one was. Snapping that new upgraded fuel pump filter sock, whatever you want to call it, on there. That was kind of a pain in the butt, but ready to go. So now I'm going to install this right back into the four-wheeler. Fuel pump's in there. I don't know what the deal is with that fuel pump. Everything on it was just trying to fight me. The main fuel line, the high pressure fuel line going from the high pressure pump to the fuel injector, did not want to go back on there. I don't know what its deal was, but it's finally back on there. Everything on this one's fighting me tooth and nail. So now we're going to move on to the fuel tank. Well, it's fuel tank time. This is the new replacement fuel tank. I've already put the new fuel gauge in there, and I put a petcock in there, brand new one. So we're going to take this tank, we're going to slide it in here. I'm going to bolt her down, hook up the fuel return line and the main fuel supply line to the fuel pump. Not passive aggressive. I got my finger on the pulse, staring straight into a hole, and I get it. And I'm a savage. I went in and just put the battery on it. I put the air filter in it, and fuel tank's all buttoned up and ready to go. I hit the key and just spun it over to see if it would start, and it's getting fuel pressure all the way up here to the fuel injector, but not to the fuel injector to the engine. So I'm going to take the fuel injector off now, and we're going to see if it's clogged up or something. Runs. We'll get these off before it makes a mess. She runs, as you can see. I had the injector on it was completely clogged up. I had a couple of these on the injector on each terminal, and I had Dad tapping it, clicking the injector as I was blowing through it with compressed air and brake cleaner. I finally got the injector cleaned where it was spraying a good mist. So that'll work out for me. So now we're going to put all the plastics back on this thing. Well, as you can see, it's all back together. One last thing I need to do is, I'll grab a piece of paper, but I got to adjust the rear brakes, which is really easy. Just turn this, get that adjusted with the rear brake lever up there. Just turn it a little bit where it feels tight. Let's see where that got me at. Maybe a couple more turns. All right, that should do it. All right. Well, runs great, rides great. Just rode around the neighborhood there for a few times. So I guess we can mark this one off the list of to-dos. Well, it's the next day. I traded out the ATVs. My neighbor came and got his red one. I traded and got the green one. We're going to be putting a winch on that. I ordered a winch plate for it. It should be here next weekend, so I'll probably be looking for that in the next video or so. But now, back by popular demand, we're going to be starting in on the buggy here. I got a little list of stuff I need to do to this thing. I drove this thing like I don't think I've told you guys, but I drove this thing last week every day, this past week, to work almost, except for one day. I love it. This thing drives awesome. It's so much fun to drive. Few things I got to do to it though. What I want to do to it is I want to swap out the Stinger. I want to get rid of that and put the quieter exhaust on it, because that thing, going on the road and you're going up a hill, it just rings in my ear, gets on my nerves. I'm over it by now. So I'm going to swap it over and put the quieter exhaust on it. The latch on my seat belt, this latch, I got to adjust it. Those little Allens, if you can see them right there on the side, when you go to latch it in, it's really tight, really hard to get undone and everything. So in case of emergency, it'll be a pain in the butt to get that undone. So I'm going to adjust on that. And I got some plug wire separators from the Bug Show I'm going to put on there. But the biggest thing I need to work on or check out on this thing and figure out is the transmission leak. I had this thing at work. We jacked it up on the rear and looked around. The leak's coming for where the engine meets the transmission right there. So it could be either one of two things. One, this is what I'm hoping it is, input shaft seal. I'm hoping that this is the leak on it. I didn't replace it on the, I should have, but I didn't. I had one for a while. I should have replaced it. I just kind of forgot about this. Honestly, this was put away in a box and inside a tote, inside another tote, far, far away in another galaxy. So that could be one thing, or it could have a crack in the transmission somewhere in there, which I hope not. I do not want that, but if it is, it's not the end of the world. I can just get a transmission. Got everything cleaned up, put up most of my tools away. I got to turn the buggy around, get it pushed back in. So now, I guess we'll start pulling the engine off. Well, looks like we might have lucked out. I took out the throwout bearing, I slid it off, and you see that little trail down here? I think the seal is leaking. I'm hoping the shaft don't have a wear spot in it or anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some brake cleaner. We'll clean out this whole bell housing really good, swap out the seal, put the throwout bearing back on, and we're ready to slide the engine back on. That's pretty cool. Only 18 minutes, take that engine off and be right where I'm at. So. And that was with me forgetting what size some of the bolts were, and I had to go get different wrenches and stuff. I think that was a pretty good deal. I wish every car was 18 minutes to pull an engine. Got the new input shaft seal put in, and I got my throwout bearing reinstalled. So now we just got to take this and bolt it back on this and put everything back together. Super easy. So I guess we'll start with that. Well, we got the my dad came over and he helped me. We slid the engine back on because it's kind of crazy doing it by myself. But it did fall off the floor jack. I knew I should at work Friday grab the adapter piece for my floor jack that turns into like taking the transmissions out. Just basically widens it. Been perfect for this setup, but oh well. But it did fall off the floor jack. You can see right here, bam, bam. That was the valve cover. Good stuff. And this gouged the side of the floor jack and ripped that apart. Good stuff. All over this little guy, this little piece of a shell. Good stuff. The floor jack hit the shell and stopped. The engine didn't stop. It just kept on going. Engine's back on. Everything's bolted back down, zip tied. Everything's done that I needed to get done to get it back on there. I went to put my plug wire separators on. Well, I took them out of the package and I should have known better. They are way too small to fit my bigger plug wires, so I got to order some for like an MSD plug wire set. Not a big deal, not the end of my world. So I'll do that tonight when I get home. But I guess now we'll install the new muffler. Get rid of this. I love this Stinger exhaust, but I just can't handle the loud exhaust anymore for a little while. The rear bumper's back on. I got the exhaust back on. That little tab thing on the header was bent up. Well, I've been bent up for I guess where it slid off the jack a little while ago, so it threw me off. I couldn't figure out why in the world this muffler won't go on here. So, but it's all back together. So now for my last trick here, I'm going to take an Allen wrench like this. I'm going to put it. This is my deal with my seat belt here. The little latch and gizmo right in there, little balls. I don't know if you can see those. Two little balls right there. And when you go to latch this thing in place, it is like near impossible to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, put it inside here, twist this back out a few, and same thing with the other side, and see if this thing will slide in there where I can actually do it. Okay, I loosened both those Allens up on the side there, that one and this one. I just did a half a turn on each, and now watch. You just saw me a minute ago, I couldn't get it to go in. Just with the thumb and my hand, snapped. And it was unsnapped, so that'll work a whole lot better. Got her fired up and let her warm up for a few minutes. I just topped off the transmission. I about forgot to do that. So it's all topped off, ready to go. So we're gonna take this thing on a test drive. This thing drives great, no complaints at all here. I think it really likes the, I think this thing really likes the muffler I just put on there. It has a way better throttle response. Made it back. The thing drives great. This thing really loves that muffler on there. I mean, it's like a night and day difference, and just throttle, just hammering on the throttle. I mean, throttle response is what I'm looking for on that. This thing is just a night and day difference with that versus that Stinger. The oil leak, I mean, I guess or the transmission leak, I should say, is fixed, because by now there would already be drops on the ground, and as you can see, it's dry. So I'll take that as a win for me for once. Other than dropping my motor today, that was not awesome. I can tell you that much, but it is what it is. It didn't damage anything. So I'll take that as a win. I finally fixed something. So now I just got to order some bigger plug wire separators. We'll get that done, get that fixed, and I don't really want to tackle that windshield. I really don't want to do it on this thing. I don't know why. The curse of the windshield, I've tried it 3 times. It just ticks me off every time I start on it. And I'm a man of patience. I have patience out the yin yang, but for some reason that windshield just messes with my patience. Just really gets me aggravated. But I do need to get some front wheels for it. This one is bent. It sucks going on the road. When you get up to speed, it starts doing that again. Not good. So I'm going to have to order me some new wheels here in the next few weeks. I'll get some new, I guess, some aluminum ones that match that. And we'll just go from there. Not a big deal. So that's it on this thing. I guess that's it for this video. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm ready to go home. I mowed my neighbor's yard today. Got a bunch of other stuff done before I came down here and played. So, you know, I'm wore out. I think I might drive this thing home too. So I appreciate you guys watching, clicking. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button and click the like if you don't mind. I'll catch y'all next time. Be good to one another, for crying out loud. Treat everybody the way you want to be treated. And I'll see y'all next time.